Hey, what's up, Julius? This is going to be a quick demo video for you for your KR Sabers Luke Hero and the recessed Neopixel blade I made for it. So this was a little bit of a challenge. I've never done one of these before and not used KR's chassis, so it was pretty cool to design my own. It is a two-button setup, so your front switch will be underneath the clamp card. Maybe you can hear that click. Your back switch will be auxiliary if you can hear that. May be hard to be picked up on camera. You do have a Carl Chen B4 NeoPixel blade connector in here, so we'll light that up here in a second. As you can see, it's made for a recessed blade. I've got your recessed blade over here, and I'll pull that out here in a second. All right, but to take the chassis out, you want to unscrew the back. All right, so we'll unscrew the back here. Take this pommel off. You'll see your chassis. Pull it straight out. All right, just pull it straight out. You can take the grenade section off if you like. There's really no need to. Just take it off real quick to show you. It has a blade side PCB in there that you can see. That makes connection with the chassis. But for all intents and purposes, there's really no need to take this piece off. You can leave it on here. If you ever do take it off, though, make sure you put it down nice and tight. All right, because distance is important. This is what your chassis looks like. So I did use the switch PCB that came with the Saber. Incorporate that in. This groove that you see right here, this channel runs all the way down here, and it stops right here. That is for a grub screw that you can see poking out right there, right underneath your clamp card area, but off to the side a little bit. That is a guide system for the chassis because these are plungers, and it helps keep the chassis aligned so those plungers land right down on these two small switches right here. And these are your red and green LEDs, so they light up. You sent me a Proffie board from, it looked like an '89 Sabers install. I do have the chassis here. Yeah, this is an '89 Sabers install. You wanted me to use the fonts. It had a ton of fonts, so I had to go through and I had to change the config because that one was set up a little bit differently than how I set this one up. I had to add the red and green LEDs to every sound font. I don't know how many you've got, 25, 30, there's a bunch on there. But they're all on here now, plus the 6 that you sent me. Several K-Sith fonts, a few Kyberphonic fonts, mostly Luke fonts. There was a Mario Kart font on there as well, and then a Race Scavenger font. All of those are on here. All right. So you've got your Proffie board right here. It is a press fit down into the chassis, but you've got access to your SD card and your micro USB right here. There's a small ring right here on the chassis. I just made that a bit of a wider diameter than the rest. So when this went into the Saber, it kind of stuck in place and it didn't wiggle around at all. All right, probably not necessary, but that's what that is right there. You've got a kill switch right in front of the board. You've got a 28mm Smuggler's Outpost Elite speaker. A removable battery setup, so there's a spring side over here for the negative side of your battery. It does say KR Sabers. If I can focus in on that, it says KR Sabers Luke Hero in Arabic. And it says Solo Sabers over here for me. All right, and we're using a regular 7-pin PCB that makes contact with that blade side PCB inside the grenade section that I showed you. And this is printed in a dark gray carbon fiber material. I'm trying to switch over to a color that I don't see people use very much. And this one caught my eye. I've been using it and I really like it. So I hope that you like it too. All right, so let's put a battery in this guy. This is a Keep Power battery. I do have the sticker off the battery though. Snaps in there nice and tough. So if you get a Keep Power protected cell battery, you'll probably want to take the sticker off. We'll come over here and flip the kill switch.
You certainly have a way with people.
So you can see your red and green LEDs. Now, when you go to put this in the Saber, remember that channel right here that we talked about. You're going to want to line that up with that little grub screw in there. If you don't have it lined up properly, it's not going to go any further than this. All right, but when you line it up properly, it goes right in. There's no turning. Whoop. Hang on just a second. It's a little bit easier to do when you're looking at it and not the camera. There's no turning. You just put it in there. That set screw locks that Saber down. You'll also see your red and green LEDs going here. and then you take the pommel and put it on. The pommel will push the chassis forward into that blade side PCB over here. All right, it'll make connection with everything. So now when it's nice and tight, now you can come over here and hit power from the back. Auxiliary in the front. You can see how that lights up your blade connector. One thing I will say, watch out for the plungers. All right, if you were to slide this card back just so much, I'm just going to slide it back just enough to expose one. There's two of these, one on the front, one on the back. You see that guy right there? It's basically a long grub screw, and it has a black spacer on it. You adjust that spacer to put it where you want it, and then you put it down in there, and then slide this card back over it. So I didn't put any glue in those. So every so often you may want to just check and make sure that if they're clicking fine, that's fine. If they're not clicking the way you want them to, or they're too sensitive, or you'd like to back it up, that's how you adjust those. All right. But anyway, we will put a recessed blade in here. I've got your recessed blade right here. So brand new blade set up for a recessed emitter. Blade side PCB right there. This has the outside piece that you see. Then it has a piece of nylon diffusion, and then the foam diffusion, and then the two blade strips underneath that. All right, so fully diffused. We'll put this in here. You're going to want to lock it down. Come over here and lock it down with your blade retention screw, and I'll show you where that's at. Your blade retention screw is right underneath that lip. You can see that right there. All right, we'll hit power. The blaster bolt deflex. Try to show that all on camera. The blade lock up. I don't know if it's picking up on camera, but it's right here. See the different color in my hand? All right, we'll go to another sound font.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
You have a ton on here. Just hit auxiliary to go to another one. All right.
I am told it is the dark saber.
Ton of fonts.
I'd put that on ice if I were you.
Jump up.
So, who are you? Cal Kestis. Ray Skywalker.
Oops. If you do a double tap like I accidentally did there on the power, you'll go into mute mode so you can ignite the saber without sound. But just single press. Regular ignite.
Dathomir will be your grave.
All right, so we're going to break this back down. I'll let you play with that, just showing you that everything works. Take our blade out here. We'll talk about your blade plug real quick too after I break this down. All right, let me put this blade over here. We'll simply unscrew our pommel. You can unscrew this back portion right here, which I accidentally did. That allows you to move this piece. You can clock it however you like and then lock it down. And so this D-ring will stay in place, or the tri-ring rather will stay in place. But I'm trying to just unscrew the entire pommel. Take off the entire pommel like this. Pull your chassis straight out. See your lights going, and then we can just flip our kill switch and it kills power. All right, and then we can take our battery out just like that. So that's how the chassis works. As far as your blade plug, now your blade plug is right here. It is made out of aluminum. It rides dangerously close to touching these pins. It doesn't. But what I would do is I would put a piece of felt or electrical tape in there or something before you decide to just leave that in there. If that happen to touch the pins and you turn the saber on, that could be a bad deal. So just a little bit of electrical tape on the inside. I'm going to put this in your case, but not in the saber. All right. But that is basically your Luke Hero Let me know if you have any questions, and if not, I'll get this out in the mail to you by tomorrow. Thanks, Julius.